If you have ever felt completely overwhelmed as a high ticket coach or consultant and you've wanted to give up numerous times, this video is for you. The list that you're looking at right now is all of the things that you as a solopreneur or as an entrepreneur, if you're trying to build a high ticket online coaching business, these are the things that you're going to have to go through and be responsible for if you're going to have a successful business. And what I see a lot of the AI gurus doing out there is telling you that AI can run your business completely. And that is not true. What I want to do in this video is I want to walk through some of these and give you my recommendation on where I would implement AI, where I would not, where I would hire out. And we're going to just spend some time and kind of go through this because the whole point of building an online business is to create a life, right? To create a lifestyle that you couldn't get in your job. That's why you went into consulting. That's why you created your fractional business. Why you created your coaching business. It's because you wanted more than a 9-to-5 can give you. And I applaud you for that. But this is not for the faint of heart. Building an online business is extremely difficult, regardless of what the AI gurus will tell you. It's going to take a lot more than just setting up an AI to make it work for you successfully. Can AI help you? Absolutely. I use it every day in my business. I use it with my clients. It is an extremely valuable part of your business, but it cannot replace everything and it should not replace everything. So that's the purpose of this video. We're going to spend some time going through this. So let's talk about strategy. Can you use AI for strategy? Absolutely you can. I'll give it a check mark. And it's how you use it though that is really, really important. Now, the first thing that you need to do, you need to help train the AI that you're working with around you, your offer, your ideal client profile. You need to make sure that it understands exactly who you are and what you do. Because if it doesn't, the strategy that it can give you can be a little dangerous. It can be very broad. It can be a little too basic. And I'll be completely straight, completely vanilla. And it could flop and it could waste a lot of time and money if you go out and try to implement something that doesn't work. Where you can use strategy is to have a conversation, to do, offer research, that market research, absolutely. But I do not think that you should use it for offer creation. And the reason for that is because you should know your client avatar better than anyone, better than AI. If you're just starting out, obviously this won't apply to you. If you want to use AI to kind of do some research, there's nothing wrong with that. But what you don't want to do is rely on AI to create everything for you. There are coaches out there right now that are saying that AI can build your coaching program. Yeah, it could design a coaching program and it could build all the content that you could train on. The problem with it though is that content is not going to help people. It's not going to connect with people at the level that you want to connect with them on. It's probably not going to create a very good product. So I would not use it for offer creation. You can use it to help kind of strategize and have a conversation with, and you can use it for market research, but don't let it build your entire offer for you, because your offer, it's your fulfillment, right? It's what gets people results. So I would not use AI for that. Can you use it for messaging? I'm going to say yes and no. And what do I mean by that? I am a huge believer in this concept of creating speed to lead. So making sure that you're getting information to people really, really fast. So I like AI and automation for things like messaging. So if you get a follower on Instagram, immediately you can send them a message with something like ManyChat. Or if you run a DM campaign, you can have a message automatically fire and have questions, follow up with them. Great. What I would not try to do is to replace your entire business messaging with AI. It can help facilitate, it can help get information to people quickly, but I do feel it's important to have humans get involved at some point in that messaging conversation. Someone needs to monitor it. Okay. The problem with the AI gurus telling you that your AI messaging bots can handle your entire business, they can certainly help, right? It can help increase some of the book calls. It can help the process of getting leads information, sure. But who's going to monitor that? Who's going to make sure that it's working properly? If that's going to be you, okay, that's fine. But that's taking you away from other activities that I'm going to recommend you spend more time on. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Branding. Yes. AI can help you with branding. It can help you create a branding strategy. It can help you create a branding book, but this isn't something that I would call a priority in your business, so I wouldn't worry about it. Content creation, I'm going to say yes and no. I do believe you can use it for content creation ideas, but I would not rely on AI to create your content for you. This kind of ties into you're using AI for market research. It can help you create some great insight that maybe you didn't have or you weren't able to dig deep enough. You're using AI to evaluate your social media, for example. It can help give you some insight and it can help create content ideas. But I would not use things like AI video to create your content. And here's why. We are entering into a massive trust recession right now in the high ticket coaching space, and consumers have been burned by a lot of people. And what I'm seeing work a lot better is more of a human interaction. So it's more of a, your ads look like a real person, talking head videos. Your social content that does really well is more authentic. It's not highly produced content, right? It's more raw, it's more authentic. And that is hard to replicate with AI. If you're just dead set on, I don't want to be in front of the camera, I want to build a completely faceless business, then yes, maybe AI can help you, but I just don't see that working for most people. So I would use it for content creation ideas, but then obviously not the creation of the content itself. Can you use it for audience growth? I'm going to say no. And the reason for that is it's kind of the Wild West right now with AI. And so there's people who are using it for things like scraping and spamming people. And the danger in this is you can end up getting your account shut down. So I'm going to caution you to not do that. I am going to say you can use it for lead generation, but in the way that I talked about with messaging. So you can use AI as a way to have a messaging conversation early on and deliver a lead magnet. It shouldn't be your sole focus of reaching out and trying to contact people and, cold calling and cold messaging. So I'll give it a yes and a no. Okay. Funnel building. Absolutely. There are some really cool tools. I built a tool called elite360.io. I didn't build that tool. Go High Level. It's our white label version of Go High Level. So if you use Go High Level, you can use that. But inside that is a complete AI studio where you can build with a simple prompt, really good looking websites and funnels. So it absolutely can help you with that. Email marketing, I'm going to give it a yes, but there's a caution. Okay, with this. So kind of goes back to the strategy. What you feed into your AI, and I'm talking about things like Claude, ChatGPT, Manus, Perplexity, whatever you're using for your strategy and sort of the concepts of, giving your copy and stuff for your websites and your strategy for your offers and those types of things. If you're not feeding it with enough information and content and quality information, then it's very, very dangerous what spits out. Okay. You could be potentially putting a lot of bad information out there and missing the mark with your ideal customer profile. And maybe I'll do a completely separate video on how to properly train your AI. If you want that, let me know. I'll record something like that. But with email marketing specifically, it's really, really important that it is trained extremely well on who you are, your market, how you speak, how you write, the phrases that you use. I'll do a completely different training on that. But yes, you can use it for email marketing. I use it for email marketing, and you can replace someone with that on your team. Sales. No, I don't believe you can use AI for sales in the high ticket space. So I'm talking, 3K plus type of offers. There are some people who are selling in DMs with, $9.97 offers, those types of things. Sure, maybe, but I would not be comfortable consulting with someone who had an offer where they're trying to sell completely with AI. I just don't believe in it. Paid ads. No, not at all. Can you use AI to monitor your account? Absolutely, you can. So you can have a situation where, you've connected like Manus or Claude Cowork. You can connect these to your actual ad accounts and have it give you feedback. However, you have to be very careful because Meta is not really created for high ticket coaches that have long, customer value journeys. It's created for e-commerce companies, brands that they advertise a product, they get a sale the same day. That's their the quick feedback loop. It's not built for people who have a 30, 40, 50, 60-day conversion window that has sales calls and multiple sales calls and SMS and all the different touch points. That's not what Meta Ads is built for. So you have to be very careful. If you're relying on Meta or you're relying on AI to make all the changes in your ad account for you, that's extremely dangerous because it could be turning off things that are working and actually getting results in your high ticket, but it can't see that. It's going to be making decisions on things like, the top of funnel metrics, like your click-through rate and your, cost per lead and those types of things. You could be turning off a tremendous amount of potential revenue by relying solely on AI. Client delivery. I would not recommend it on this. You could use AI to help facilitate information. So for example, if you do weekly client check-ins or something like that, where they fill out a form, this is especially true for fitness professionals who have a coaching program. Most of you do a weekly check-in, right? And you can automate that's being sent to them through your CRM system. When they fill out that form, you could have AI automatically evaluate it, automatically create or recommend the next step. But again, you have to properly train your AI on what to do with that information. It's not just going to magically know. Or if you don't train it properly, it's going to be potentially giving advice that doesn't kind of align with your coaching program and your offer. Okay. So client delivery, yes and no. Client success, yes, you can absolutely rely on AI to do follow-ups and get testimonials. I think it's a great resource for that. Operations, I'm going to say yes and no. And the reason for that is because AI is not perfect and things can get missed. You need to make sure that you have something or someone in your business that has a beat on quality assurance, quality control, and the operations of things that are going on in your business. There's just too many moving parts in a high ticket coaching business to rely 100% on AI. What about your tech stack? Can you automate everything with your tech stack? No, you cannot, but you can use AI for some things. Analytics, yes, you absolutely can use AI for analytics, but I'm going to say no as well. And here's the reason why. If you have a very difficult or longer buyer journey than something like e-commerce, you have a lot of touch points. You're probably going to have to identify things that AI can't pick up, right? What their original opt-in touch was and what their booking source was and their days to close and those types of things. If you can program your AI to try to figure that out and you can connect all the right data, great. Okay. I would not rely on AI for your finance. This is extremely dangerous. I would not be connecting your personal information to AI at your banks, those types of things. It's too new. I just wouldn't, from a security standpoint, I just wouldn't do it. Same thing with legal and admin. Well, legal specifically, but I'm talking about admin around, legal. I would not rely on AI to provide legal advice. In fact, I think it's even gotten to the point where they're not allowed to do that anymore. Community and relationship building, I'm going to say, we can say yes and no. So yes, from the standpoint of getting people onboarded into your communities with automation, doing some automated posting and check-ins to kind of keep touch points going. But in terms of relationship building and, being a face in the community, I would not do, AI videos. I would make it authentic, make it you. Product improvement, absolutely. So you can have AI evaluate your product improvement. In fact, that reminds me, I should go back to sales. I do use AI to evaluate sales calls for my clients. I built a custom system that basically it knows what a high ticket sales call should look like, but I use it from a marketing standpoint because I run marketing for some pretty big brands. And what I will do is I'll take their sales calls, and especially the ones that are lost, and I will go through those sales calls. I'll throw them into my AI tool and it will analyze and basically tell me, what I need to be focusing on in marketing to help knock down some of those objections. And I'll use a lot of that in like the middle of funnel. So you can use it for sales, but just not the sales calls itself. So for product improvement, you can take the feedback. If you do like an exit interview with your clients, you can take that feedback and you can apply it to AI the same way that I talked about with the sales calls. And you could actually get some really good feedback and be able to improve your offer based on some of that feedback. So absolutely. Personal performance. What I'm talking about here is like your energy, your mindset. I'm going to say yes and no. I personally have been through a fairly large weight loss journey and I did it using AI, getting feedback and insight on certain markers in terms of my blood work and some of my testing, meal recipes, these types of things. I absolutely think you can use AI for some of that stuff. So you look at this and you think, okay, that's a lot. There's a lot of opportunity here to use AI. There's some opportunity that you shouldn't, there's some places in your business that you shouldn't be implementing AI. Now, why did I do this? Doing this not to freak you out, not to scare you, but to prepare you for the reality of building a high ticket coaching business and making sure that you're spending the time, your personal time, where it should be. The problem with a lot of high ticket coaches, and I know this because I'm one of you, we are entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs love the shiny new toy. And AI right now, all the AI apps and builders and tools, they're all shiny new toys. You got to be very careful because obviously the people who make those are trying to sell them. So they're going to pull at your emotional strings. They're good marketers and they're going to say, hey, you don't have to be creating your strategy. You don't have to be creating your offer. You don't have to be doing any of this. You don't have to be doing that. You don't have to be doing sales. You don't have to be building funnels. And before you know it, you have gotten yourself into a position where you have to build all of these things. Like you have to create the AI or you're going to have to hire them to build it. And then if you have to hire them to build it, you don't know how to run it. So you're going to have to pay them to run it. And then you're just replacing people with more people. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense. What I would recommend that you do is you focus on the one thing that drives the most revenue. That is sales. Okay. You should be focusing 100% of your time, as much of your time as you possibly can on that. And trying to automate some of the other stuff is great, but you have to be careful in trying to automate the wrong things. I see people making a huge mistake right now, and they're trying to automate paid ads. They're trying to automate lead generation. They're trying to automate audience growth. They're trying to automate sales. And all it's leading to is failure and frustration and people spending a bunch of money and losing a bunch of money and things just not working. I would recommend connecting with people who are experts in those things and letting them handle it. Okay. If you're an expert on sales and that's your thing, and that's where most founders, most coaches, that's their expertise, go for it. Okay. But lead generation, audience growth, your marketing, you should, in your ads, my God, please don't rely on AI to run your ads. You can use AI to help maybe build some ads, especially image ads, but not video ads. You can use AI to evaluate some things, but it can only take you so far because AI is just a machine. And yes, it knows a lot, but it doesn't have all of the data points. It doesn't have all of the insight for a high-ticket coaching business. So that's why it's very dangerous. I see a lot of people who are buying into these gurus who are selling, how to run your ad account by yourself. And the problem with that is you're buying that the guru who's selling it is probably an e-commerce guru, meaning they help brands who work in the e-commerce world. E-commerce and high-ticket coaching are completely different ad accounts. They're run completely differently. And if you try to run it the same way, you're going to end up wasting a tremendous amount of money. So this is why I'm trying to give you some insight here to really what you should be focusing on with AI, what you shouldn't be. If you were to ask me, Ben, what's the priority? Like, where should I be focusing on using AI? Absolutely market research. Okay. You can absolutely use it for your email marketing, your sales calls evaluations, your product improvement, your client success. These are things that absolutely can help you, but I would be spending a majority of your time with sales. Bring in a marketing team, bring in, someone that can help and focus 100% of their energy on generating you traffic and the right people, and let them own that. If they want to use AI to help supplement that, that's totally fine, but don't rely on it to try to run your marketing, to try to run every aspect of the marketing at least, because it's going to set you up for failure. So that's what I have for you in this video. I'll try to create another one. It talks about how to train the AI properly, because that is so important when it comes to building an AI that can actually help you with some of this stuff. We'll see you in the next video.